Coming up, we're going to talk about the latest DVC news. Hello, everyone, and welcome. Coming to you from the Bob Varley Studio in Orlando, Florida. I'm your host, Pete Werner, joined this week by my good friends, Paul Krieger.
Hey, everybody.
His wife, Amy Krieger.
Hello.
And our producer, Mr. Corey Fiasconaro.
Welcome home.
And we thought just because there's some news going on, that we would talk about some of those things. We haven't talked about some of these issues in other shows, so we figured we'd do that here. But before we get started, just a reminder, this show is brought to you by the World of DVC, which includes DVCResaleMarket.com if you'd like to buy a DVC contract for less than some of the prices we're about to talk about. DVCRentalStore.com, which is a great way to rent out points to stay in DVC resorts. A great way to try before you buy. Also, but if you're not interested in buying DVC, well, why are you watching the show? I'm not sure. But if you're not interested in buying DVC, but just want to save money over what these rooms would cost if you went through Disney directly, it's a great way to do it. That's DVCRentalStore.com. And, of course, MoneraFinancial.com. They finance DVC resale contracts. They make it very, very easy for you to do that. Really lowers the bar to entry to pretty much nothing. And so if you enjoy our content, if you enjoy the content we put out around DVC, please show your support by supporting our sponsors, DVCResaleMarket.com, DVCRentalStore.com, and MoneraFinancial.com. Okay, so I'm going to turn this over to Paul because he's got a few bullet points that we're going to talk about this week. Where are we starting, Paul?
I say we kick it off with what you sort of hinted at already. Normally Disney Vacation Club gives us a round of price increases for their sold-out resorts once a year. Typically, I believe that's happened historically in like the January, February timeframe. But this year, I don't know. They've just decided we're going to just pepper them in a little bit at a time here to see how people feel about it. So we got another round of price increases that went into effect on June 24th for new direct purchasers. This is for Old Key West, Boulder Ridge, and the Grand Californian. And the prices are going to shock you as we go up here. So Old Key West increased by $5 per point from $165 per point to $170 per point if you are buying that direct. Boulder Ridge villas increased by $4. Don't know where they came up with that random number. From $186 per point to $190 per point. I guess they wanted a nice round number at the top there. But the big shocker and the attention grabber here was, for the second time this year, the villas at Disney's Grand Californian Hotel has increased from $295 per point direct to $310 per point direct. And I'll just leave it at that. This is our first over $300 per point Disney Vacation Club resort.
And my response to $310 a point at the Grand Californian is...
So I've heard that from chatter in the group and BizBoards that the wait list for Grand Cal is full. Like, you cannot even get on it right now.
Yeah, no, it's a popular resort. Do you think, though, that these price increases are really more about making Riviera look attractive? Because that's what I think when I look at this. When I look at, like, why is Old Key West $170 a point direct?
And Boulder Ridge expires in 2042. Yeah.
And Boulder Ridge? I mean, I own it, Boulder Ridge, right? But under no circumstances would I pay, that $170 a point, especially not when on the resale market. I'm just taking a look here. 118 a point, 117 a point, 129 a point. Smaller contracts going for like 138, 149. But again, they're the same points. They're used the same way. You don't get all the perks buying resale that you get buying direct, the blue card versus the white card. We've had that discussion before. But then you ask yourself, are those perks worth the difference in price of $118 a point versus $190 a point at Boulder Ridge? No. If you came to any other answer, then no, you're incorrect. I mean,
what perks are you talking about?
Is the price difference between direct and resale at Boulder Ridge worth the perks you get through Disney Vacation Club for going direct? The answer is no, it's not. I can't even say in my opinion. It's not. It's not.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, right now there's not even any perks right now. I mean, there's no Moonlight Magic. There's no annual pass if you don't already have one. But even with those in play, I don't think it's worth these prices.
And Pete, I want to come back to your comment about Riviera here when we get to another one of our news stories, because I think you hit the nail on the head, but I think it's a larger scope that we're looking at. And the Disney Vacation Club is sort of reinventing how they're selling. They're taking more of a boutique mindset as we emerge from the results of the past 18 months. And they're basically saying, you know what, we're gonna sell you whatever you want, but if this is what you want versus what our current popular selling resort is, Riviera, then you're gonna pay a little bit more for it. And so I think they're making their spreads higher on these other sold out resorts because they are popular, because there is some issues with Riviera, and with what's on the horizon, I think that they are trying to make Riviera look rather attractive to the family purchaser. And that goes more to that boutique mindset that we'll get into in a little bit.
Well, and I also have to draw the comparison of Old Key West at $170 a point direct. On the resale market, I'm seeing 115, 122, 109, 110, $60 a point? Really? For the points that do the exact same thing? Again, Moonlight Magic. Like Amy said, right now that's not even a thing. That's not even going on. And so I just it can't be because there's so much demand for these points that they have to raise the price, or are they just are they tilling the ground before they start selling the Disneyland Hotel DVC Tower once that goes on sale? We know that construction is moving forward on that project, and is a $300 price point at Grand Californian going to make that look more attractive at $260?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And I think they're tilling the ground for that, and they're also tilling the ground for our other big news story that we've not really discussed as a group yet, which is the new villas coming to Disney's Grand Floridian Resort and Spa. They are building 200 new studio villas that should be up and running by next summer, which is crazy to think about when you think of the construction time frame, because they actually don't plan. They're going to utilize one of the buildings, Building 9, Big Pine Key, which is currently there as part of the Grand Floridian, and they're going to convert this in what I can only describe to be 4 or 5 months. So they're literally going to flip this building. They're going to shut it down next spring at some point and then bring it back next summer. And it's going to be all brand new studio villas at the Grand Floridian.
Do we know what the direct price at the Grand Floridian is right now?
Whatever it was, I want to say it was 180 something. They took it off of the online site where you could go and request to purchase it, so they removed it. It was sitting at
255.
Oh, 255. Well, a lot more than I said.
No.
I was going to say, because
we bought it on the resale market for 180. Yeah. They removed it. So I don't know if they're halting sales right now of that, of Grand Floridian direct. But
so Pete, you hit the nail on the head earlier. It's my belief internally that Disney is thinking, you know what, we're going to have the Grand Floridian, which is going to be this premier resort that's going to sit up here at a price point direct. And we're going to have, whenever the Disneyland Tower comes online at Disneyland, we're going to have that sitting up here at this pillar of a price point direct. And what those prices are going to do is, if you balk at that, if you're interested in that resort, you balk at it, it's going to make the Riviera more appealing from a family perspective. And so I think that all of these are geared towards Riviera selling better on the flip side by having these other sort of things peppered in there.
What's Riviera selling at right now?
201. That's before incentives. Incentives can, depending on how many points you're buying, it can drop it down to like maybe 170s.
Mm-hmm.
Well, because Grand Floridian right now on the resale market, again, looking at dvcresalemarket.com, ranging, I'm seeing prices from 188 to 207 a point. And that's very high for resale. I mean, I'm not saying they're charging. I mean, this is all resale companies are charging this. But it's in high demand. So I understand why DVC wants to add those villas. They're going to sell out. They're going to sell out. And then a month later, you're going to start seeing them show up on the resale sites, in the resale markets. We saw with Riviera a month after it opened. We started to see the resale listings. But now, do you think the new Grand Floridian villas they're not going to be able to like have the resale restrictions that Riviera has, right? This is not a new property. They're just expanding the one they already have. I don't think they can do that.
So I have to take my sunglasses off. I can't take myself seriously. So I wrote an article about what I had thought, and I thought about it a lot, and a lot of people agree with me, some people did not, because some people are under the belief that, it's DVC, they'll do whatever it takes to put those restrictions on. It is part of the same condo association. So this is not Copper Creek versus Boulder Ridge, where there are two different associations. This is like Jumbo House and Kidani Village, or even Saratoga when they added the tree houses in, because those came later. So it's the same association, which means that owners like Paul and I, who own Grand Floridian, will have access to that new building at 11 months. And likewise, if you buy, into the new building, which I would imagine it's more like where you don't know until you get your contract, where your interest is. Because when we bought Animal Kingdom Villas, we have a direct and we have a resale. I've looked through all of our deeds. It does not even say if it's Kidani or Jumbo House. We didn't know until it showed up on the DVC site. So my guess would be you wouldn't even know where your interest would be, which building. Yeah, if you're buying old or new, it's all the same association. So that means, this building should be part of the original 14 resorts, because Grand Floridian Villas, the association, is part of the original 14. So I don't see how they can split this one building from the same association from the original 14 resorts, like they did with Riviera. And then, to that, you have owners who are, going to own and have access to both. So how do you restrict that? You can't have some people paying dues for one building and some people paying for both buildings. I think that if you put restrictions somehow on, the resale of those contracts, then you're limiting Grand Floridian owners, right? And for Riviera, no offense to Riviera owners, but when you bought direct Riviera, you knew of those restrictions before you signed that paperwork. We have Grand Floridian contract, and this was not something we signed up for. We did not sign up for any kind of restrictions when we bought, knowing that our resale value would be good at the 14 resort. So I don't see any way that you can shake it up that they could possibly add it. And you know what? I said this in my article. I might eat those words, and you know, they won't taste good if I have to.
I will not disagree, but I will say that if Disney can find a way, they will definitely do it. And you know, there's been some chatter over on Disboards and stuff like that. People that comb the sales agreements, the contracts, a lot more finer than I ever have time or real desire to do. But there are some rumblings out there that they could implement this on a contract level. So again, never going to say never, but
it just sounds
it would just taste a lot worse than the current Riviera restrictions if they tried to mesh it into this current condo association.
Well,
it'd just be very messy.
Given how much damage the resale restrictions have done to goodwill with the membership, if they do that, which honestly with this management team, I wouldn't be surprised. But if they do that, I think it's going to drive an even bigger wedge between them, the management and the membership. I think it would be looked at as I just look at how much damage Riviera did.
Yeah.
To the relationship between DVC and the membership. And if they're going to double down on that with something like this, then everybody look at their watch, because Terry Schultz's career, the SVP, the Senior Vice President, Disney Vacation Club, look at your watch, because her career is, with the DVC is going to be about 5 minutes long. As it is right now, she does not enjoy a great relationship with the membership. Between how COVID was handled, between other things that they've announced and done, not a lot of love coming from the membership right now.
And I don't want to defend her, but Pete, I'm curious on your take of this. You know, the Disney Board of Directors decided to entrust the company with Bob Chapek because he, from a behind-the-scenes perspective, produced very favorable financial results. And I almost have to wonder if internally they love Terry Schultz. They love what she's doing because it is producing.
Yeah, but you have a slightly different dynamic. I agree with you that at the end of the day, financial results are what's going to determine things. But you do have a different dynamic here. The membership are owners. And the relationship with the membership can have a lot more of an impact, I think, than the relationship of Disney corporate, Walt Disney Travel, and the guests. That's just my opinion. Who knows? It's anybody's guess. But I'll be very interested to see. I think if they feel they can squeeze that in, they're going to do it. They're going to do it. They've already said on all new DVC properties that they were going to extend these restrictions. And I don't know that it's paid off for them. Mm-hmm. You know, their whole MO was to tank the resale market. Resale market right now is stronger than it's ever been. So if that was their end goal, it failed. It just makes the value of what you're selling at Riviera less, in my opinion. But all right, so what else? Let's talk about the next one.
So the last one, which was just, I love how they, if you pay attention to your member dashboard enough, they just sort of sneak in these things sometimes. And I always have an alert in my member dashboard in my account, so I always sort of I glance over them, but I don't pay much attention to them. But then, like, you quickly go, wait, what did that say again?
Mm-hmm.
So that's exactly what happened the other day when I was browsing through, and it said member site and services will be temporarily unavailable. And this is what originally was. This is all that was originally on the website, was that Disney Vacation Club member website will be undergoing maintenance and temporarily unavailable from 10 p.m. Eastern Time on Saturday, July 17th until maintenance is completed on Tuesday, July 20th. In addition, Disney Vacation Club offices will be closed on July 18th and 19th. That was the full statement, but I mean, when you read through it, it's basically saying, hey, we're taking 3 days. We're going to be completely shut down for 3 days. You can't do anything. Good luck.
Hold on. Okay. Now look, anyone who has interacted with DVC's online portal knows that it's 6 to 5 and pick 'em, whether or not it's going to work. If you are trying to book something off borrowed points on a resale contract, doesn't work at all. You've got to call in, which is a 2-hour wait right now on average. And even once you get through to somebody, they have to go find a manager. Now, if this shutdown fixes that, because the answer they always give, it's a website issue. Okay, I'll give you the benefit of the doubt. If this fixes that, I'll be a little more understanding. But have they announced what they're going to do for people who may not be paying attention to member services announcements, who may realize during that window they need to bank points and are not going to be able to get through, are not going to have access at all for roughly 2.5 or 3 days to something they're paying for. Now, look, I don't know exactly what changes they're going to make. I have to assume, in fairness, if they are going to bring down their systems at this level, it is a massive overhaul. It's a massive overhaul. It's a massive fix, change, maintenance, whatever you want to call it. How are they going to handle the fallout from this? Because you know damn well there are people out there, plenty of members, who are not aware of this and are not going to be aware of it until they try and get through to member services and can't, or try to log on to the website and can't. I'm going to reserve judgment on this until after it happens and see what the big deal is. I'll reserve judgment, but from an optics standpoint, it is another example, and I'm not saying this is their intention, but the optics of it are, yeah, we're not going to let you have access to anything for 3 days, too bad.
Yeah, and I mean, even if they're doing a complete overhaul, a complete rework, like, okay, so the website's going to shut down. Why can you not contact member services? That doesn't make any sense. Like, even if you had to do something with that, wouldn't you want to space it out, have one thing be done at a time?
Well, I think the core system is going down that serves both member services and the website. And that's why I'm hoping that afterwards, maybe we don't have 2-hour waits to get somebody on the phone. Maybe we are able to bank our points or borrow our points from our resale contracts without having to call in and wait on hold and then wait to get a manager. And I mean, it's a thing. It's a thing. And it's not hard to look at that and feel that they are screwing with resale members. Now, maybe that's not their intention at all, and I'm sure it's not. But it looks that way. And after a year where Disney Vacation Club has had so many issues with optics, you'd think they'd be a little more sensitive, but I'm sorry. It's just...
No, I'm with you, Pete. You know, I'm very hopeful that this does improve everything. But you know, they've put a lot of literature out there in the past, like in the Disney Files magazine. You know, they've commented like, go chat with us online, or you can do X, Y, and Z online. But 9 times out of 10, it doesn't work.
Yeah.
But they've done a lot of that. So I guess I don't know why they're not trying to get ahead of this with some sort of announcement of like new and improved member services updates coming.
Let us know why you're doing this. Exactly.
Yeah.
Let us know what's going to be better or different.
And they followed up with the small statement that they put on the member services website with a full email that went to all members. And what I find hilarious is you could tell they were struggling for optics with this, because there's a list of everything you cannot do while the system is down, which is you can't do anything. And then there's this random list of 4 things that says this should not impact the following: your ability to check in or check out, your access to the Disney Vacation Club member lounge at Epcot. Because that's not something that I ever thought would be impacted by that. Like, it's just one of those things where it was like, I didn't even consider that.
Your ability to show your blue card.
Your ability to show your
Take
blue
it out of your
card.
wallet.
So it's like
your ability to
disappear.
Your ability to breathe uninhibited will not be affected by our shutdown. The world will, the planet will still rotate on its axis as a result. It will be unaffected. So, I mean, there are so many positive things about this shutdown.
You're still going to be able to refill your refillable quick service cups, you know, mobile order.
It's mind-bending. It's mind-bending to me.
I want to talk to the person that wrote those 4 bullet points of like, these are the things it won't impact. Don't worry about these 4 things. Like, I just want to sit down.
But you know, Paul, you know, there was a meeting, right? Where that where they came up with those bullet points. They sat down. There was coffee. There were pastries. They sat down and they dug in and they came up with that bullet point list of all these positive things that will not be affected by this complete and total shutdown of all operations for 2 days. It just, again, they're professionals. They're good people. I'm not saying they're not good people. But you know what?
I just hope we don't.
You know what? Stop with the drugs. Stop. Okay? Stop taking drugs or whatever it is you're doing. I don't get it. I really don't. But you know there was a meeting. There was a meeting where this was discussed. That this was brainstormed.
I feel a skit coming on, like a little. We should reenact the meeting, get like some pastries, some coffee, and then pretend like we're the meeting people.
It's mind bending. It's mind
bending. Do you
bending.
think they wore sunglasses in that meeting?
I don't know. What are you talking about? Why would they wear sunglasses?
I just want them to fix the hold music. It's like the one thing I request.
Really? Amy, aim higher. Aim higher. I want the damn website to work. I would like the damn website to work. But that's that's a prayer for Disney in general. I would like any of their websites to work consistently and well. But
with that in mind, there's 2 things that I've heard as recommendations or advice over the past week. Now that we know about this downtime, the one thing that a lot of people seem to be doing is screenshotting the confirmations of their current reservations in the DVC system, as well as screenshotting their current point balances. Because if you know Disney IT, like we know Disney IT, that will be that extra peace of mind to know that everything you have is safe. And also, I would personally recommend that unless you absolutely need to be talking to member services on that Tuesday when everything's supposed to go back online, Tuesday, July 20th, avoid that day like the plague. Because even if they do a million things while this downtime occurs and it fixes everything, that system's going to be overrun on Tuesday, July 20th. It's going to go down because too many people are trying to access it. Member services is going to be offline as well. So I fully expect that day to just be absolute insanity. And I look forward to reporting on the DVC fan Facebook group every minute of the hilarity that it ensues.
I'm literally screenshotting everything on my dashboard right now. Like, you know what? He's absolutely right.
Well, I heard someone say that originally, and I was like, nah, I don't need to worry about that. And then we were sitting around the other night, and I was like, Amy, I think we should do this.
Yeah, we did.
I think you absolutely should. I'm literally, right now on my iPad, I'm literally doing it as we speak because...
And I mean, God forbid that happens, but man, if stuff on that level gets messed up, whew, we'll have a fun show coming up real soon.
Oh no, that's okay. If that happens, that's like that calls for popcorn. That calls for popcorn and a live feed. Is what? Yeah, but. Look, I hope everything goes well. I hope they make some actual fixes and changes to this website. But it's, like I said, it's 6 to 5 in Pick'em, folks. It really is. What's going to happen? What's going to happen? All things considered, I'm still really, really glad I'm a DVC member. Feel I should say that. I definitely have issues with their management. I think a lot of us do, but I still love being a DVC member. And I just pray that they fix some things. It's all we can do at this point. It's all we can do, but we can be forgiven for doubting what will happen as a result of this, because I've been at this with these people for 24 years. I know Disney and their websites, and I can tell you for 24 years it's been a nightmare. It's been a nightmare. So we'll see. We'll see. All right, that is going to do it for our show for this week. We hope you enjoyed it. We'll see you again next week with another episode of the DVC Show. Have a great week, folks.